So I'll tell you a little bit about our history and then show you the specific solutions we have for rotational molding. Okay, let's go to the next one. So our company is called Stoner, which is kind of an interesting name, maybe ahead of its time, and it's a family name. So that gentleman that you see there is Paul Stoner. He was born in 1914, and he was an orphan, but somehow he went to university and got a degree in chemical engineering. So at the time when he started Stoner in 1942 during World War II, there weren't a lot of degreed chemists around. So he worked for other people and then became kind of a jack of all trades, making things as disparate as paint for homes to one of the first mold releases when the plastics industry started, and then later car care products. And our company is family owned, and we develop our own internal R&D products, but we also acquire product lines like the Trices brand that you'll see that we bought from DuPont. And we also bought a paste wax brand for the composites business from 3M and Meguiar's. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So what makes us really unusual is we make everything in-house. So we're really a manufacturing company. We're located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, about 2.5 hours by car west of New York City, and we ship globally from there. Quality was a really important thing to us in the early days of our business. So we started participating in quality competitions, first in our city, then in our state, then in the East Coast region, and eventually we participated in the Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award. Companies like Boeing and Google have won that award. It's actually given by the President of the United States. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we needed to sell in Indonesia in the retail market, believe it or not, and ISO 9001 was required. So we went to our CEO, explained what was needed, and we were able to get ISO in 90 days because our systems are pretty buttoned up. And so quality is one of our hallmarks. Okay. And so we've been at this a long time. We made our first mold release in 1948, and today we're huge in the injection molding business, rotational molding, composites. Most fiberglass boats that you see that come out of Asia are molded with one of our releases. Rubber, most automotive belts and hoses under the bonnet of your car are also molded with Stoner products. We are the biggest manufacturer of polyurethane releases in the world. And then every time you swing a golf club, more likely than not, it's investment casted with one of our releases. So we're into a lot of different things. So let's get stuck into rotational molding, which is one of our top 2 markets. So we have a complete system from the cleaner to the release to the surface enhancer and even to protecting the mold so that you can release more parts and you don't have to clean it as much. So we're going to go through the 4 steps with a simple product for each one of those steps. So the first thing, they say that cleanliness is next to godliness, and we kind of believe that. So our mold cleaner is something that we came to by accident. We had a rotational molder that had a lot of resin buildup on his parts, on his tooling, and he asked us for a product, and we actually had this all-purpose cleaner, which is a water-based concentrate, and you can cut it with water depending on how heavy duty you need it to be. And it basically works on everything you run into in rotational molding. It'll remove grease, dirt, grime, um, burnt on resin, and any mold release buildup. So it's a really good product, and we'll show you how it works. So it takes about 10 minutes to clean a mold, and it's highly concentrated and super effective product. So we're going to give you a couple of case histories. This one is a rotational molder in Guangzhou, China. And I have to tell you, we spend a lot of time in China. I've got a guy I work with who's in China right now calling on rotational molders. And this is a typical bit of tooling that you see in China. A lot of the tooling is never cleaned. And so this particular piece had a lot of pigment and baked on mold release and resin. And we said seldom clean the mold. We're being polite there. So let's go to the next one. And so we mixed up some all-purpose cleaner, shot it on the mold, waited 10 minutes, agitated it with a Scotch-Brite pad, and that's what it looked like after. So again, before and after. Okay. And the second one was closer to our home in Pennsylvania. And we had this mold that we're actually going to show you a movie of that was covered with resin. And their current practice is they were using solvent-based cleaners, which has a couple of challenges. Number one, the solvent-based cleaners that we've tested are slower than our water-based all-purpose cleaner. They have worker safety issues. Sometimes the workers get skin irritation or headaches from it. And most of all, they're flammable as well. So it's much better to use a water-based solution. So another rotational molder in China was running into the same kind of thing. They were using paint thinner and acetone. And actually, these don't work very well on rotational molds. Some of you guys might have tried this. And so again, we introduced all-purpose cleaner. And so it's really, really easy to use, and we'll show you. So this is what the after parts look like. And let's go to the next slide. And now we're going to show you a video that's also on YouTube. So it's just that easy. That's a fantastic product, all-purpose cleaner. So next we're going to get into our biggest selling product in this series, and it's Trisis 420. Now we have different formulas of Trisis, but this is kind of our universal product, water-based release, that's used by most of the rotational molders. And the beauty of these products is they're water-based and solvent-free. They have no smell, and they're really safe products. But the thing that rotational molders love about 420 is it's a semi-permanent. So a lot of operations that open on Monday morning will spray this on the mold, heat the mold, and then start to make parts. And they can make parts all week long. And then they'll reapply the following Monday. It's temperature resistant up to 260 degrees C, and we do have some higher temperature products for open flame operations, and it's extremely clean. You get very little buildup, and it doesn't transfer to the molded parts. So the big applications for this are potable water tanks. Most of the kayaks that you find that are rotational molded in the world use this product. And a growing area is fuel tanks. And another growing area is there's a lot of rotational molded parts for EVs, electronic vehicles, like the battery trays. And so we're winning a bunch of applications for that, particularly in China. So let's go to the next one. And so the advantages of this product is, number one, it's better for your people. So it's much safer in the production areas. You also don't have to pay extra for shipping or handling, or keep it in a caged place with sprinklers. In many countries, we have to take solvent products or high VOC products and fill out government reports on them. It's also better for the mold because it's semi-permanent. You have less buildup and discoloration. It reduces played out. So actually, you need less of our surface enhancer. And it's just a really clean product to use. So let's go to the next one. So I'm going to give you, again, a couple of case histories. This was a rotational molder in Hubei in China. And most of the rotational molders we ran into in China were using solvent-based products. And they were not cleaning the mold regularly, so they could only make 4 to 5 parts. And these parts had a lot of pockmarks, pinholes. They weren't really high quality parts. So they were using a local Chinese competitor, and these guys were making cross-linked polyethylene oil tanks. Let's go to the next one. And so that's what the part looked like. It's a pretty complex part. And they switched to 420 because now from 4 to 5 parts, they can make 30 parts. And so it's actually 3.8 times more cost effective per oil tank than using their current local solvent-based product. And the second one is another rotational molder in Foshan, China. And this was during the COVID crisis. And these guys were making the thermal boxes, which you might call an esky, or I might call a cooler, to transport the COVID-19 vaccines all over the world. And so they were using a solvent-based product. They were making these for government organizations, and the government wanted the solvents out of the factories. And so this was actually a Chemtrend product that they were using. And let's go to the next one. And that's what those vaccine coolers look like. And so they switched to 420 because it was water-based. They had less problems with the government. It had no odor at all. It was safe for the workers and also good for the environment. And it was 2 times more cost effective per cooler than the Chemtrend locally made product that they were using. So we'll show you a little video of how easy it is to use 420. Okay. So an extremely elegant product. So we also have a version of Trices called 500, and this one is for high heat and open flame rotational molding applications, and it has all the advantages of 420, but this one goes to 315 degrees C, or we've had some molders that go even higher than that and successfully use 500. So let's go to the next one. And it has all the same advantages as 420. It's just higher temperature. Okay, then we have another water-based release that comes from our Releasemers line. It's called P448, and that's another general purpose water-based product. And it's very good on cross-linked polyethylene applications, and it's also freeze-thaw stable. I don't think in Australia it gets that cold in the winter where a long freeze would be a big deal, but this is a product that we use in a lot of cold climates. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And it has really all the same advantages of the Trices products. And now Gerard's going to take us through the Enhance product. Basically, we call it Rotoflow, and the one that we have is an aerosol can that is solvent based. We fill it in our factory in the US, and PSI has a water-based version that does the same thing.
Thanks, Tom. It's been brilliant advice. So yeah, Enhance is basically got 3 purposes. Probably the most common one is around hard to get areas, and it promotes the powder to flow into those tight spots. A couple other uses. If you really want your product to ping, some people are applying it to the whole part. Thirdly, we have experienced success on back spraying and mold graphics. So apply the graphic, back spray it. It helps if you were struggling with the graphic to stick to the mold. That just helps the powder to flow over top of the graphic during molding. So yeah, most commonly just around those inserts, etc. So we've got it in the bulk, 5 litre is what we recommend, and what we promote is a free air spray gun application, which has got a really nice fine mist. So the most common issue, product's only as good as the way you apply it, but the most common issue is to over apply it and get big droplets. A little bit like release, but yeah, even more so on this Enhance. It just needs a really fine mist, and you may not see it even apply because it doesn't go exactly milky. It just bakes on there at on a warm mold. Excess of 40 degrees is recommended for application. So if I didn't say before, that 5 litre of Enhance that you see there comes free with one of those air spray guns to get you up and running as an introductory offer. What's next? So we're going to roll on to video at some stage, is that right?
Yeah, so basically both of these products have the advantage of increasing product quality, removing pinholes, voids, and blowouts. And we'll show you a couple of examples of that. If you're using an insert, it will also mold around the insert so that it's much stronger. And so they reduce scrap, increase productivity, and the enhanced one and Rotoflow have no CFCs. Okay. So here's a case history from Pennsylvania. This is a company making outdoor children's playground equipment. And, you know, the image of these products is very, very important. And they have some pretty tight radius. And so when they got pinholes and voids, they had to reject the parts. So there's an example of some pinholes. And there's the before and there's the after. So you just spray the Enhance or the Rotoflow on the area of the part that you get a problem, and it just increases the resin flow into that area so that you get a perfect finish. So this is an example of a company in Wisconsin that was making hydraulic tanks, and the inlet and outlet nibs were getting deformed because they weren't getting enough resin flowing in them, and they were also burning a bit. So by using Rotoflow, that helped improve the quality of the part. And so there's the part afterwards. So completely solved that problem. Okay, so this is one of our big applications, and this is a company making kayaks, and the finish had an imperfect surface. It had a lot of porosity and pinholes, and it just didn't look good. And they were passing these parts, but they got some complaints from consumers about the finish. We showed them how to use Rotoflow and completely cleared up any problems they had with microporosity on the mold. So we'll show you how this works. And to Gerard's point, you only need a very fine mist of this product. You could see that guy in the factory spraying it on the mold. He's just passing through it very, very quickly. Okay. So now I'll turn it over to Gerard to talk about the Enhance.
Yeah, this video will show the recommended procedure for application. I'll fire away.
Test results apply.
Okay, so now we're going to go into step 4, which is protecting the mold. So we have a product called M520 Zip Slip, and this is a great preventive maintenance product for the mold parting lines. So if you apply it to the mold parting lines, normally it's applied with a small paintbrush. You can avoid unwanted resin buildup on those parts. It also gives you a tighter seal on the parting line, so you can eliminate blowholes, voids, and pinholes. And so this is just a great all-around maintenance product. We'll go to the next slide and give you some examples. So, that pretty much repeats all the advantages that we have. So let's go to the next one. So here's a rotational molder in Pennsylvania. It's that company making the outdoor kids playground furniture. And they had a lot of resin buildup on their parting lines. And so they actually couldn't mate up properly, causing gaps. And they didn't have any solution for it. So we came in and showed them 520. And it prevented any resin buildup on the parting line. It also increased their quality of parts because it totally eliminated any gaps or leaks in the parting lines. So here's a little video that'll show you how extremely easy this product is to use, and you use very little of it. So remember, with our system, particularly the Trisis products, they're semi-permanent. So you're probably going to apply them to the mold once a week at the beginning of the week, run parts all week, and that's when you'd go over the parting line with 520 before you buckled up the mold and put the two sides together. Okay. So we're just going to show you one last summary on the whole system. Okay, so that's that kind of wraps up our presentation. Now we'd like to open the floor to any questions or comments or things we can help you with.
Yeah, we might have said in the chat function that we'll turn all your mics on, but looking like we're having a bit of struggle to do that, but please feel free to unmute yourself at any stage. I guess just one point to touch on, we do have pretty much that full range that we've covered available. We also have a high and a low release should you need it. It's called 715 being the light release and the 414 for the high release. Do need to point out into Australia, many that are on this call, or you may have seen me in the last week. We had limited stock set up in an AU warehouse over there. We had no idea how well how engaging the interest is. So yeah, just please bear with us for 2 or 3 months while we organise a few containers to get sent to our AU warehouse so we can service your ongoing requirements. But we're looking forward to it, and probably from February on. But please be free to talk to us in between times. We do have limited stock, so we may be able to service that. But I'm looking forward to that ongoing relationship, and definitely keen to support the rotational moulding industry. It's our baby, and we're here to support it in any way we can. In terms of support, obviously ours will be the first means of reaching out, but beyond that, we have a very close relationship with the Stoner. Obviously Tom, and you may have heard of Larry Whittemore, just an expert at the advice. And so I've had our Zoom with him answering many questions this morning. So we are got that expert backing behind us as well. So once again, keen to support the industry and keep you in business because you need it. But yeah, any questions, fire away. Nothing further. You're welcome to get on with your day. There will be recordings available. Feel free to share that amongst the team as well. Appreciate you all joining, and all the best. Reach out anytime.
And all these videos that we shared are also on YouTube. So, you know, if you ever want to show the video to someone else in your team, they're there 24/7.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to get on with my day.